We are diving straight in today with a script for a YouTube commentary video. It's called The Story Box.
Right.
And it's a breakdown of that whole controversy around the children's entertainer, Miss Rachel.
The anti-Semitism allegations on Instagram, yeah. It's a, it's a really volatile topic.
It is. You've got social media mechanics, you've got the political context, crisis management. It's a lot.
It really is. And I've looked through the material, and, the writer is clearly passionate.
Oh, for sure.
They've done their homework. But there's this huge conflict between the seriousness of the accusation and the style of the delivery.
Yes.
It's like it can't decide if it wants to be this serious investigative expose or just like a roast battle.
That tension is exactly where we need to start. The whole goal is to maximize impact. And right now, the biggest obstacle isn't the evidence.
It's the voice.
It's the voice. So let's look at the first major issue: tone and credibility.
Okay.
When you're accusing a beloved public figure of something this serious, your own authority, your ethos, it has to be bulletproof.
And currently it's not.
Currently, it's actively undermining itself. The script is, it's just absolutely peppered with these ad hominem attacks. We're seeing words like dingbat,
Yeah.
mocking her baby voice, sarcasm about her being old, even phrases like babyface serial killer.
I caught that too. There's that line, typical leftist dingbat, like full-on meltdown.
Right.
But okay, let me play devil's advocate for a sec. This is YouTube commentary, right? Isn't that kind of aggressive, high-energy style just part of the genre?
That's a valid concern.
If we strip that away, do we risk making it boring?
And we definitely don't want to turn it into an academic lecture. But there's a difference between personality and just pettiness.
Okay.
The problem here is the so what factor. If you spend your time mocking her appearance or her voice, you're just handing her defenders an easy out.
Right.
They can dismiss the whole video as hating or bullying. They don't have to engage with the actual evidence because the narrator sounds like they have a personal vendetta, not a factual grievance.
I see what you mean. It's like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. If the narrator's willing to be cheap about her age, don't worry, guys, she's old. God help us. Then the audience just assumes they're being just as loose with the facts about the actual controversy.
Exactly. You want the audience to reach the conclusion on their own. You don't want to scream it at them.
So, actionable changes.
Yes. We need to shift from personal insults to, like, a forensic analysis.
Okay, give me an example. How do we rewrite that leftist dingbat line without losing the punch?
Well, instead of attacking her, you attack the behavior.
Okay.
So instead of typical leftist dingbat, try something like, her response relies heavily on emotional appeals rather than addressing the contradiction in her technical explanation.
That's colder.
It's colder, it's sharper, and it hurts more because it feels true, not just mean. It sounds more like a prosecutor than a heckler.
Yeah, much more authoritative.
Precisely. And the baby voice, that's a huge part of her brand.
Right. It's low-hanging fruit to just mock it.
But analyzing it, that's gold. So instead of making fun of the voice, you point out the dissonance.
The contrast.
Yeah, you could say something like, there is a jarring contrast between her persona as a gentle educator for toddlers and the mature, highly political nature of this controversy.
That turns a cheap shot into a psychological observation.
And it respects the listener's intelligence. So, okay, we clean up the insult, but the core of this script is the argument that she couldn't have accidentally liked that comment.
Right, the technical impossibility argument. And that's the strongest evidence the writer has.
But it's buried under a mountain of sarcasm right now.
It really is. The script asks these rhetorical questions, like, how do you accidentally like a comment? It mentions the small little love heart, but then it just drifts into this skit where the narrator is pretending to be Miss Rachel, saying, oopsie, big whoopsie.
It's performing her internal monologue instead of dissecting the actual app mechanic. That's the weakness. The writer is just relying on their own incredulity.
Basically just saying, I don't believe you.
Instead of proving why it's unbelievable. So we need to restructure this whole section as a precise deconstruction of the user interface.
But is the UI really that distinct? I mean, fat fingering a button is a real thing.
It is, but look at her specific claim. She said she tried to hide the comment and accidentally liked it.
Okay.
On Instagram, those functions are not neighbors. To delete or hide, you usually have to swipe or you click the 3 dots. To like, you just tap the heart.
They're completely different gestures. on opposite sides of the comment.
Exactly. The physical movement of the thumb is different.
And that is what needs to be in the script. So don't just ask, how did this happen?
Tell the audience exactly why it's so improbable. I'd suggest dedicating a whole paragraph to a step-by-step comparison.
Something like, to delete requires a swipe. To like requires a tap. You can't confuse those two inputs.
Even more detailed, the hide function is buried in a submenu accessed by the 3 dots, while the like button is a primary surface interaction. The probability of performing the exact sequence to liked a comment while attempting the completely different sequence to delete it is statistically negligible.
Wow, yeah, that shuts down the "it was a mistake" defense. Much harder than just saying, "I bet she's lying."
It moves the argument from opinion to fact, and the writer needs to trust their evidence. If you have the smoking gun, you don't need to make funny noises while you hold it up.
Fair point. Okay, so moving away from the technical side, the script then tries to build a broader case. It brings in all these other names.
Mandinani, Motsi, the Palestine News Network.
Yeah.
And this is the section on evidence of association. And honestly, this is where the script starts to wobble the most for me. It feels really disjointed.
I got a bit of whiplash read. We jumped from the Instagram, to indoctrinating kids, to Mandani is a communist Muslim, back to the apology, then to PNN.
It feels like you walked into the middle of a conversation between people who already know all the players.
Exactly. It's the curse of knowledge. The writer knows how these people connect, so they just assume the listener does too.
And to a neutral observer, it just looks like a conspiracy board with red string everywhere. It's built on assumption, not on established context.
So how do we fix that? Do we just cut the names?
No, the names are relevant, but they need to be introduced with a logical hierarchy. Think of it like building a legal case.
Okay.
First, you establish the immediate incident, the like. Second, the reaction, the apology. And then third, you bring in the context, the past associations that show the incident wasn't just some random outlier.
So you build the pattern last.
You build the pattern to support your conclusion, yeah. Right now, the script just vaguely refers to her Free Palestine friend.
Which is weak.
Is very weak. The writer needs to be explicit. Don't just list names, list timelines. She featured guest X on this date and guest Y on that date. Both have public histories of supporting, you know?
That establishes a clear pattern of conduct. Okay, what about the Palestine News Network stuff? That part was really confusing in the draft.
It is, but it's actually a bombshell point if it's explained correctly. The script says PNN claimed Jews set her up.
Right, but it just says PNN left a comment. It doesn't explain why that matters for Miss Rachel specifically.
Here's the missing link. Miss Rachel responded to that comment. She tagged them.
Oh.
The script needs to slow down and just spell this out. After her apology video, PNN commented, suggesting a conspiracy that Jews framed her. Crucially, Miss Rachel didn't ignore this. She replied and tagged them directly.
I see. So that totally contradicts her whole stance of neutrality or just wanting peace. Engaging with a conspiracy theory is a deliberate action.
Exactly. But the script just blurs that interaction so much you miss the significance. And while we're on clarity, the script mentions Stop Anti-Semitism posted this today. Who is Stop Anti-Semitism? I assumed it was a hashtag.
Yeah, I did too. Is it an organization?
It's a watchdog group. The writer needs to clarify that. The watchdog group Stop Anti-Semitism broke the story and archived the interaction before it was deleted. That adds third-party validation.
It makes the narrator sound like a reporter, not just a react. It boosts credibility.
It does.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the crying.
The apology.
Yeah, the script goes hard on this. Full-on meltdown, acting like you're crying, classic liberal behavior. It focuses so much on her emotion.
It does, and that's a mistake. By focusing on the tears, the critique just becomes repetitive.
It feels like the narrator's just annoyed that she's emotional.
Right, but the real goldmine here isn't the crying, it's the words she's using while she cries.
So you think the script should ignore the emotion and focus on the apology script itself?
100%. Analyze the rhetorical strategy. The tears are a shield. The narrator is attacking the shield. We need to look at what's happening behind it.
Okay, let's break down the rhetoric. What did she actually say that deserves critique?
Well, she says, I have liked things by accident before. The script should point out that this is a delusion tactic. She's trying to normalize a specific egregious error by burying it in general clumsy.
It's like saying, oh, I drop my keys all the time when you're accused of throwing a brick through a window.
Exactly. It's a false equivalency. Then there's the phrase, I feel like we can't be human anymore online.
Which sounds like a plea for empathy.
It is. But what it's really doing, functionally, is shifting to victimhood. She's apologizing for the reaction to her comment, not for the harm of the comment itself. She's framing herself as the victim of a cruel internet, not the perpetrator of an anti-Semitic action.
That's a much more sophisticated critique than just stop crying.
And finally, look at what she doesn't say. She says, I hate anti-Semitism in this broad, abstract sense. But does she disavow the specific groups or the specific friends we mentioned earlier?
No, she keeps it really vague.
And that's the point to hammer home. She condemns the abstract concept of anti-Semitism, but refuses to distance herself from the specific individuals in her circle who promote it. That exposes the hypocrisy without having to call her a dingbat.
It really does seem like the writer has all the right puzzle pieces. They just jam them together in the wrong order.
Which brings us to the final critique, the narrative flow. The timeline in this script is just a mess.
It really is. It jumps back and forth between the Free America from the Jews comment, the apology video, the PNN thing, and then back to the apology. And the narrator keeps saying, have a watch of this.
Have a watch of this is a death sentence in a script if you don't describe what we're watching. But the bigger issue is the non-linear structure. It feels like a stream of consciousness rant.
So how would you structure it? If you were editing this piece, what's the roadmap?
Linear is best here, just chronological. Start with the incident. What happened? She liked the comment. Boom. Then the immediate backlash. People noticed.
Okay.
Then the apology video. Analyze that. Then the counter evidence, the PNN interaction, the past guests, which proves the apology was insufficient. And finally, the conclusion.
Simple, chronological, effective.
And within that structure, we need to clean up the details. There's a part where the narrator mimics her voice, saying, I'm a human, guys, over and over.
Yeah, the looping, it got annoying really fast.
It destroys the pacing. Do it once for effect, maybe, but don't loop it. It just stops being analysis and starts being filler.
Right.
And we need to be crystal clear about the different comments.
The difference between the comment she liked and the one PNN liked.
Yes, the current draft blurs them. You have to explicitly say, first, she liked a comment by a random user. Later, she replied to a comment by PNN. If the listener thinks those are the same event, the whole argument about her pattern of behavior just falls apart.
One thing that stuck out to me at the very end, the narrator just yells, fire that PR agent.
Yeah, that felt like a heckle from the back of the room. It's catchy, but it's shallow.
So how do you make that actionable? Because it's probably true, her PR strategy did fail.
Then analyze the failure. Don't just shout, fire them. Place that thought at the end as a summary of the crisis management. You could say, the erratic nature of her response, from the initial silence to the emotional video to the combative comments, suggests a total breakdown in her PR strategy.
That turns a random interjection into a professional diagnosis.
Exactly. And that's really the theme of all our feedback today. The writer has done the work. They have the receipts. They know the subject inside and out. But they are hiding their best points behind this aggressive, chaotic persona.
It's like they're afraid that if they're too serious, they won't be entertaining.
But the facts of this story are crazy enough to be entertaining on their own. That's the key.
Yeah.
If your evidence is strong, you don't need to yell, you don't need to name call, you just need to lay it out, brick by brick, and let the audience build the conclusion themselves.
The forensic approach. I like it.
So, to the listener who submitted this, we want you to strip this down. Remove the insults, linearize a timeline, and focus your energy on the UI mechanics and the rhetorical analysis. You have the makings of a really compelling expose here.
You do.
But right now, it's just dressed up like a rant.
I would love to see the version of this that takes itself seriously. I think it would be devastating.
I agree. Refine the script, apply these structural shifts, and please send it back in. We want to see the update. Thanks for listening.